Hi, everybody. Tom Van Hoy with Pitt State Track and Field head coach Russ Jewett on this edition of the PSU Track and Field Insider Show. Pitt State men won the MIAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship last weekend at Lincoln University in Jefferson City. Third straight year for the Pitt State men, who also won the MIAA Indoor title as well this year. The Pitt State women finished third back of Lincoln, who won a fourth straight championship. Lincoln with 182 points, and Central Missouri 104.5, and Pitt State with 93. PSU men pulled away on Sunday afternoon, finished with 145 points. Nebraska Kearney second at 118.25, and Central Missouri third with 108. On Sunday, Pitt State wins from Jeff Piepenbrink in the pole vault at 17 feet. NCAA Division II automatic qualifying height. Marquise Cushon in the triple jump. Garrett Apier won the shot put, and Andre Sanders the 110-meter hurdles. There were multiple contributors, some in multiple events for the Pitt State men. Pitt State women with two athletes who won two events. Jessica Macy, 5,000 and 10,000 meters, and Nat Reed, the long jump and triple jump. The triple jump and MIAA record, 41.2 1/4. Plus she finished fourth in the 100 meters. Reed won the MIAA high point honors with 25 points. Here's Pitt State track coach Russ Jewett on the performance of his championship men's team.
Well, we're awfully proud of our guys, and it's great fun to go through a whole year where you work hard and go through some adversity, and yet come out with a successful outcome at the end of the season. And it's a collective effort, coaching and with the athletes, and really cool to get a collaborative effort like that is so hard to achieve and to come out successful. Not too many things like it in life, I don't think.
I know you and I've talked before about you'll sit down and try to project how it might go. And were you close at all this year, point-wise? Or?
Well, yeah, we were close. I had us projected for high 130s on points if we took care of business, and we came out with just a little bit more than that. And that was a product of not getting some of the events done like we should, and then having some pleasant surprises in others.
Yeah, the last time we talked when you won the indoor championship by 1.5 at Missouri Southern, you had a little more leeway here, right?
We did, but, Tom, it was really in question, and people smile at me when I say that, and they see the end score, but, we did not have a great day one at all, and then started off day two, at least with the running events, with a drop baton or a baton pass not made in the 4x1 and got 0 points there, so it was touch and go without question.
Well, I guess it was close, even mid-Sunday afternoon, and then you came up with some really big wins. And you and I talked about how important it was going to be, in the field events, and your guys came up big for you.
Really did. It wasn't just the field events, but it was especially the field events. And some of those were early on. I mean, the pole vault started at 12:30 on Sunday, and we knew Jeff could win the thing, but there's some other really good vaulters in there, and he did a great job and pulled off the victory with a 17-foot vault nonetheless. Marquise Cushon in the triple jump was big. He wasn't really the favorite coming in. There were two other really outstanding triple jumpers there, and it wasn't just the field events. I think the steeplechase was a big event for us emotionally. We had a guy ranked 8th in there, Talon Thompson, who'd been fighting injury all year, and he ended up getting third place in a very hard-fought battle and an exciting finish, probably past 4 guys the last 400 meters. So things like that get your team up emotionally and help sort of get a crest of a wave that everyone else can ride the rest of the way.
Yeah, is it kind of nice, though? You and I've talked before, too, that sometimes you go to these meets, you're not really there to try to win them, but when it all kind of comes together and there's a lot of camaraderie and there is a whole lot on the line, is that a pretty cool feeling?
Oh, Tom, there's nothing like it, really. It's hard to describe. You have to have experienced it to really appreciate it, I think. But, yeah, it is. It's the coolest feeling.
I mean, a guy like you mentioned, Talon Thompson, you didn't expect that out of him, and I would imagine that when you got that, everybody was going, man, that's a big plus for us.
Yeah, it was a situation where we didn't expect to make a big mistake in the 4x100 either, and so that's a negative downer. And our kids have strong character, and they didn't go in the tank. And, I mean, a guy like Talon Thompson could have seen that. And then, because that was right before his event, and kind of, whoa, we're cooked. But then, I'm going to do my job. We're going to persevere and overcome, and we did that collectively.
Hey, back to Jeff Piepenbrink, and I want to talk about some individual performances here. Is 17 feet, I don't want to say a magical height, but to a barrier to get past for pole vaulters?
I think at our level it is. Like maybe at the Division I level you would say maybe 18 feet, but at our level there's very few 17-foot vaulters. Not too many schools have a school record of 17 feet or more at our level, and so I guess you could say it's a sort of that 4-minute mile barrier at our level.
How difficult is it for someone like Jeff to participate in a decathlon, 10 events, and came in fourth, 6,726 points, and then come back and do that?
Well, considering the last event of the decathlon is a 1,500 meters, and you're not an aerobic kind of an animal, it's pretty darn difficult to recover from. You're on your feet competing basically for 6 hours the first day and maybe 7 hours the second day, and it was pretty darn hot, and so you have hydration issues to deal with, and just the psychology of being in that competition mode for that long, and then following that up with a couple hours on the track for the pole vault competition the third day. So testament to his competitive spirit and his endurance, and to his team for his team's support that he had, I think helped him too.
How about the shot put? Garrett Apier's been really good for you this year. He goes 57.2 1/4, and then you got Bo Farrell at 53.5 second and Cody Holland at 53.4 1/2. So you had some really good performances, but one I guess maybe you probably expected.
Yeah, and that's a challenge in and of itself. We knew that was going to be one of our better events. We knew we could score 20 points in that, and but sometimes that makes it more difficult because your opponents sort of put that target on your back in that event, and they're motivated more than ever to beat you. But also at that time it was pivotal for us because of the circumstance we'd had ourselves in with a couple of bad performances prior to that. And that was really one of the most exciting events of the weekend. And Garrett Apier made it that way, probably not intentionally, but he hadn't been throwing very well up until the last throw. And I can't remember if he was in fourth or fifth place, something like that. And then he threw 57.2 1/4 on his last throw in the finals and moved him into the lead. And then the guy who was ahead of him, the guys who were ahead of him couldn't pass him. So that was really exciting.
How about the hammer? You get 2-3-5 with Luke Wilson, Cody Holland, and Bo Farrell there.
Yeah, a really strong event for us as well. You don't have to win events to win the conference championship, but when you have a good 1, 2, and even 3 punch in an event and can score, you score as many points or more than someone who just wins the event. So that's a depth event for us at the conference level, and really a strong event for us.
Well, let me ask you about Farrow and Holland specifically. Both of those young men, top 5 in 3 different disciplines. For Farrow, second in the shot, 3 in the discus, 5th in the hammer, and then for Holland, 3 in the hammer, 4 in the shot, 4 in the discus. How difficult is it? They're all 3 different disciplines to be successful in all 3.
Well, yeah, the shot and discus are similar with the spinners in the shot anyway. There's still some significant differences, and certainly you can't just practice one and be good at the other. And then the hammer is totally different. So that's the really interesting thing with Cody Holland, being able to be really good in the shot and the discus, which are somewhat similar. Hammer's totally different. So it takes a lot of time and concentration to transition from one to the next.
How competitive was the 110-meter hurdles with Andre Sanders winning 14.26?
Well, he came into the meet ranked 4th, I think, and did a great job of concentrating and running his fastest race in the final. He's been making improvements weekly in his technique, and of course he did well indoor, but then outdoor you add 5 more hurdles and 40 more meters, and it's a little different animal with conditioning and concentration, things like that. But really proud of Andre for, in less than ideal conditions, coming through with a great performance in the final there. And again, still fairly early in the meet on Sunday, the last day of the competition, and help give us some positive momentum.
Hey, can you adjust? We were talking about, you didn't think you had that great a day first day, and then you're going to point back second day. At that point, can you adjust who you want to race or throw, or is that already predetermined before the meet?
No, you're locked in. That's one of the things that kind of limits us as coaches. You make your entries in advance, and you're locked into those entries. And then some of these events, these running events, you have preliminary rounds on Saturday that qualify you or don't qualify you to the final on Sunday. And so, you only get who you've entered and who you can qualify through to the second round.
Do you have some performance, and maybe we talk about this more in other sports, that are big game performers maybe don't practice all that well, but is that something that comes, you can talk about as far as track and field that shows up, I guess, when a big meet comes up?
Yeah, you can, and there are guys that certainly work hard in practice, but really can channel all of their psychological and physical energy into a performance, maybe better than some others. So you call them the gamers, or the ones that are great performers and game day guys, like you might mention. And we have some of those, I think. I think Marquise Cashana is one of those. I think Andre Sanders is one of those. Piepenbrink, those, Bo Faro in the discus and shot, I think, is one of those. Really, we have a lot of guys like that. Talon Thompson is one of those. He trains. He's not the best guy on the track in practice, but he certainly gets everything that he has out of a competition.
We talked a lot about guys that won, but you said at the outset, and it takes others to help you win.
Oh yeah,
championship. And I mean, just some guys, long jump, you got Stephen Mann and then Kyle Utze score for you, the 400-meter hurdles, Markel Nickens, and pole vault, Jace Phelps was fourth. You got points, John Blazvik in the javelin, and I hope I'm not missing somebody here, but you have to have that to win, though.
You really do. If you take out all those guys, you don't win. You don't come close to winning. So you like to have the 10 points per event kind of a deal. Hard to win events in this conference with all the national caliber athletes we've got. So, and you mentioned Markel Nickens. I mean, the guy, he might have had as good a weekend as anybody with his 400 hurdles race there. He PR'd by over a second for sure, and it's still third place in a very tough conference. But yeah, some of those thirds, fourths, even the sevenths and eights, you get enough of those, that adds up. So it all counts, that's for sure.
I missed Casey Steinmiller there that in the 5,000, or he ran 54.57 before he came in fifth place in the 400-meter hurdle. So he picked up some points for you.
Yeah, he did. He's a guy that just seems like I call him the Bubka of the 400 hurdles. Sergei Bubka was a Russian pole vaulter, 15, 20 years ago, and they paid him a bonus every time he broke a world record. So he broke it by a centimeter and then quit, so that he'd still have more, the next time. That's kind of like Casey. He PRs just about almost every time he runs the thing, but by just a whisker, and he did that again this weekend in the prelims and in the finals of the 400 hurdles.
Was this different at all? And we talked last week about this. You'd won 2 consecutive, maybe a target on the back, but going in, was it a little bit different because you were 2-time defending champion?
Well, yeah, it was quite different, actually. We still knew we could win. I mean, obviously, we have a better chance to win this year than we did the last 2 years on paper, but that's the challenge. So I think our demeanor on Saturday wasn't what we needed. I think we were a little tight. I think we knew that we were the favorite, although not a strong favorite. I mean, we knew that everybody else was considering us a favorite. I guess that's the thing. And we were probably a little tight, and we missed some opportunities because of that. And so on Saturday night, we talked about that, and I think our team captains and senior leaders really did a great job of changing the tone among the team. And then I think, other than the mishap in the 4x100 the next day, I think that showed.
Well, we talked sometimes, too, about other sports, and I go back to, the Pitt State football and the success that they had, and the 95 team. It maybe wasn't the best they ever had, but you know what? It was a team that made it to the national championship and maybe wasn't expected there. This was a team that was expected to win and did it. Have you had other teams before that you thought were going to win and maybe didn't win?
Well, we haven't really had a situation where we were considered a favorite going in by others. Or on paper, if you want to call it that, that we didn't win. And in fact, I don't know that we've had one where we were a favorite and we were able to win, but not too many times we were a favorite. But I think, I think we were very disappointed in 2010 when we hosted a conference championship and didn't win, because, I think that we had a lot of athletes that really came through and with big surprise performances, and didn't have some athletes didn't. So that's the only time I can think of that we were really sincere. We're always disappointed when we don't win a championship, but when that year we were, I guess, more disappointed.
Well, be careful about the T-shirts and three-peat and all that, because I think Pat Riley has the copyright and trademark, right?
Yeah, we're not doing any three-peat T-shirts. No, not into that.
Hey, not to put any pressure on you, but you only had 3 seniors this year, so you've got a lot of folks that are coming back, and Keenan Souls was a young man that we talked about in the indoor that got hurt, and he wasn't able to participate and maybe get him back for next year. So you do have a number of performers that are coming back that have good experience for you.
Well, we do, and we recognize that, and that's positive for the future. But we have the mentality, we take it when we can get it, because these things are hard to win. They really are. And we certainly aren't going to have on our minds all the time, well, we've got a lot of guys coming back, so, fill in the blank with we don't have to work hard or it'll just come to us. That's certainly not going to be the case. So we'll have to prepare next year as if, we're second or third best in order to win another one of these next year, no doubt about it, regardless of how many kids we have coming back.
All right, on the women's side, you finished third with 93 points, and we talked before Lincoln, just outstanding. Their fourth consecutive, 182 points to Central Missouri's 104.5. Overall, how do you think your women performed? I was pleased with our women.
We probably could have scored more points. I know we could have scored more points. We had a few disappointing events, but we had some outstanding performances as well. And, when you're on the track with the likes of Lincoln University, who could possibly go on to win a national championship and have won several in recent years, and you still compete as if you want to win the championship, then it's something to be proud of. And I think that was our attitude going in.
Can that be intimidating when somebody like Lincoln has been so good and, you look out there and you go, well, here comes Lincoln. Does that play out in track and field?
Well, I think it can. I think it certainly can. There's no athlete that directly affects your performance in terms of, they don't tackle you, they don't steal the ball from you in our sport. But if you're a sprinter and you're pretty good, but a Lincoln girl is 15 meters ahead of you before the end of the 200 meters, that can be intimidating to some extent. Some of their girls are so good. But I don't think I know that our women were not intimidated, and that's what we want. We want our women to have confidence going into a championship competition, perspective of what our abilities are, but certainly confidence that we can perform to the top of those abilities, and I think we got that out of our women by and large.
Well, you had two women that won two events, and we'll start with Ned Reed, long jump and triple jump, and she won those events and also finished fourth in the 100 meters and won the high point honor with 25 points for your team. Start with the triple jump with her, 41 2 1/4, pretty good, an MIAA record, right?
Excellent. When it really counts, she came through and performed really well, came close to her best ever, and better than some other great triple jumpers in our conference. Yeah. And Net's just was quite a gift to us. We'll take the good luck when we get it, because we certainly all of us have the bad fortune here and there. But Net came into our program as a dual sport athlete, having not done track and field for 2 full years, so 2+ years, almost 3 years. And she's a talent without question, but I think Coach Brown did an awesome job with her of, not overcoaching her, of course, and not getting too greedy, because it could easily have gotten her hurt and trying to get too much out of her, but coaching her enough and getting her back into the groove of track and field. It had been so long that you're able to get some really successful performances out of her. She jumped almost as well as she ever had. Actually, in the long jump, she did jump better than she ever had this year, so that's testament to her and to Coach Brown, I think.
Will she have a chance at nationals?
She will. It's really her triple jump is very impressive to us, but the triple jump is even more tough this year at nationals maybe than it's ever been. So she's ranked like 5th or 6th, I think, at the national level in that, and I think she's ranked 3rd or so in the long jump. So she'll have a chance if she competes well. She can bring home points in both of those events.
All right, Jessica Macy, we'll talk about her, and she did win the 5,000 and the 10,000. Both of those events at the MIAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Before we talk about her times in those races, how difficult is it physically and mentally as well to run 10,000 on Saturday and then have to come back and run 5,000 on Sunday?
Well, it's pretty tough when the 5,000 on Saturday is 85-degree weather. Pretty tough when you've got 6 1/4 hard racing miles under your belt from the night before. They finished at 10,000 about 8 o'clock the night before. And in the hottest part of the day, the next day, you're running 5,000. So and especially when you have formidable competition. So Jess did an awesome job, especially with her racing style. It's hard for her to sit and kick. And in a tactical race like the 10,000 and the 5,000 at the conference level, nobody's going to go out and just lead it at record-setting pace. It's just not going to happen. Very rarely do you see that. So it does come down to, who can run fastest at the end after you're really tired. And that's not really her bag. She races best, when there's really stiff competition from start to finish. At least that's when she's had her best performances. But indoor season, she got beat at the indoor championships by the Missouri Southern runner, who ran a spectacular 5,000 and 3,000 and beat Jess in both of those with a sit and kick tactic. And so Jess, is not a sit and kicker, so she's going to have to just do the best she can with pushing the pace from way out, and she did a great job in the 10,000 of doing that, and maybe an even better job in the 5,000 when it was really more fatigue involved, and took off with probably 3 laps to go in that 5,000, and the young lady from Missouri Southern hung with her for a while and just kept pushing, and finally got away from her, so I was really proud of her.
How about some other contributions for you? Heather Glenn, we talked about this year in the pole vault. She goes 12, 2 1/4 and finished second. Emily Dearman, heptathlon, was third at 4,898 points. DeAndrea Blow, if people listen to these shows, familiar names, third in the discus for you. And Darian Stansel, third in the hammer. Cassie Caswell, Amber Kloster, and also Casey Epps all got points for you over the weekend.
Crucial points, without a doubt, yeah. Those throwers, those 2 sophomore throwers, DeAndrea, Dee we call her, and Darian, fantastic job in the discus and the hammer, respectively. Dee had a PR in not great discus conditions to get third there, and Darian, fantastic competitor, 167 feet in the hammer there. For each of them got 6 points for the team, and that adds up. Emily Dearman, one of the toughest kids we have on the team without question. She's a freshman, and that heptathlon was brutal. She had a big PR at the end of the heptathlon in the 800 meters, ran 2:19, and then was able to qualify a little later on that day in the 400 hurdle final, and ended up placing in the 400 hurdles for some points for her team as well. So can't say enough about those kids.
Have you seen over the years, and we talked about how young your men's team is, and the same thing on the women's side. I think you have 4 total seniors there. Is there a big leap, so to speak, from the freshman year to the sophomore year after you have experienced the collegiate level and everything that goes with that?
Well, it depends on the athlete, I think. Sometimes you see a big jump. Sometimes you see a freshman that does really, really well as a freshman. It's rare, but sometimes you do see that make a great adjustment. Maybe they were undertrained in high school or what have you. And once in a while you see it as a junior, even a senior. It just really depends. I don't think you can say as a rule that everybody improves a ton from their freshman to sophomore year. It depends on circumstances.
All right, in terms of what you have coming up, 2 Twilight meets, I guess, this weekend, one at Southern, one at Emporia. This is just an opportunity for heights, distances, times, and so forth for the to qualify for the Nationals?
Exactly. In our sport, we qualify individuals that will comprise our team, and you qualify those individuals by chasing those standards and trying to be in the top 20 in the individual events, or the top 12 in the relays. And so you have to get a time or a distance or a height, and that's what we're doing with some guys or girls that are close to qualifying but not yet qualified. And then again, it's 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks now till our national championship, and some of these athletes, even though we know they're qualified, need to maybe perform one more time so that we keep in the rhythm of competition. So different objectives.
We go back to Piepenbrink for just a moment. His 17 feet, that automatic qualifier?
Yep.
Okay. So if you reach a certain height or a certain distance or a certain time, you automatically qualify, and then the rest you try to get the best you can, and then hopefully you'll be in a certain level so you can get in.
That's right. The auto standard is really tough. Usually only 3 or 4 athletes per event reach the automatic standard, and Nett Reed did that in the long jump, and excuse me, and then of course Jeff did that in the pole vault.
All right. Well, again, congratulations. You got to feel pretty good about your team, and it's. One thing about it is these are a lot of young men and women that have participated indoor and outdoor. It's a long season, and you're kind of coming down the stretch, and you feel like you've got some athletes that can compete and have a chance at the national level.
Yeah, we do. It can be a long season, but I think our kids measure it out pretty well, and I think we'll be ready. And we do have some men and some women that can perform well at nationals, and hopefully, help us place high as a team, as high as we can anyway.
That's Pitt State track and field head coach Russ Jewett on this edition of the PSU Track and Field Insider Show. Coach Jewett named men's MIAA Outdoor Track and Field Coach of the Year, his 8th time to win that honor. Pitt State has won 10 conference outdoor championships in history on the men's side. Also for Coach Jewett, a remarkable 32nd Conference Coach of the Year award in his distinguished PSU career, including men and women's track and field and men and women's cross country. This weekend, a pair of Twilight meets at Missouri Southern and Emporia State. Last chance to improve times, heights, distances for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Allendale, Michigan, which began on May 22nd. I'm Tom Van Hoy. Van Hoy.